live from the Senegalese capital of Dakar.
The capital city of Senegal.
24 hours, 7 days a week, all year round. On 94.9 FM, this is West Africa Democracy Radio Dakar. We got you covered. We got you covered on all fronts. News, programs, special shows, and lots of all new music. From Dakar to Benin, from Nigeria to Ghana, Conakry, Bissau, Niger, Togo, Côte d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Mali, Mauritania, Ouagadougou, Cape Verde to the Gambia. This is your radio. This is your voice. Your voice. This is West Africa Democracy Radio. And we are on air. We're on air. West Africa Democracy Radio, 94.9 FM Dakar. It's music.
Monday to Sunday.
It's hard to explain, okay? But
All day. All year round.
it's so mysterious.
This is who we are.
This is who we are. WADR.
WADR, promoting dialogue.
It's midday in Dakar. Good afternoon and many thanks for staying tuned to West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and worldwide on YouTube and Facebook. Welcome to Newslink, and here are the top stories. The Dixon Court in Guinea considers reclassifying September 28 massacres as crimes against humanity. Public reactions trail heated debates on the bill to abolish the law banning FGM in the Gambia.
The current ban of female circumcision is a direct violation of citizens' right to practice their culture.
I mean, I would have loved to see them kill the bill, but at the same time, sending it to committee is a chance.
Nigeria Labour Congress backs public university workers warning strike over unpaid entitlements.
Some of the things we agreed with government was that payments were going to be made for the release of allowances.
And the Ministry of Communications in Ghana linked recent internet service disruption to a potential landslide. Please stay tuned for details of these stories and more.
Here is a more edit with Newslink.
Many thanks for joining us and a warm welcome to our listeners in the Gambia, Ghana and Liberia. Well, let's begin in Guinea, where the court presiding over the trial of the September 28, 2009 massacres is contemplating reclassifying the events as crimes against humanity following a request from the prosecution starting March 18. Lawyers representing the defendants have requested a 2-week postponement of the hearing to adequately prepare their responses to the prosecution's requisitions. As Augustine Collier reports, a 32-page document outlining the prosecution's arguments was distributed to the various parties involved on March 4.
At the outset of Monday morning's hearing, the defense submitted its responses to the court and promptly requested to address the court. Met Amami Samori Traore took the floor first, recalling the trial's history and the qualifications considered. He noted that the command responsibility associated with crimes against humanity had been dismissed, assuring the council that all available remedies had been exhausted. Sporting a pair of black sunglasses, Pepe Anthony Lamont spoke next, adopting an exertive tone. He began by stating that his esteemed colleague has effectively dismantled the presumptuous requisitions of the public prosecutor through relevant and impactful arguments. Somewhat provocatively, he argued that these requisitions were made 1 year and 6 months after the commencement of the proceedings is evidence that the public prosecutor is convinced of Captain Musa Dadis Kamara's innocence regarding his criminal responsibility. Since September 2022, the country's former leader, Musa Dadis Kamara, along with 10 other former military and government officials, has been on trial for the September 28, 2009 massacre. On that day, at least 156 people were killed, hundreds injured, and at least 109 women were raped, according to the report of an international commission of inquiry mandated by the UN.
Augustine Coley filed a report. We now turn attention to Liberia, where the government has issued a directive effective immediately cancelling all diplomatic passports issued during the tenure of former President George Weah. WDR's Darlington Popper in Monrovia reports that this decision is believed to be aimed at bolstering the integrity and credibility of the country's travel documents.
Addressing a press conference on Monday, Foreign Minister Sarah Besloyanti announced that the holders of diplomatic passports have until April 18, 2024 to return their passports for the issuance of new ordinary or survey passports. She emphasized that the holders of diplomatic, official, and survey passports with the validity exceeding 2 years must surrender their passports by March 19, 2024 or face the consequences.
All those bearing diplomatic, official, and service passports known as privileged passports are hereby requested to return them to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs commencing March 19, 2024, and this exercise will end on April 18, 2024. All Liberian citizens and non-Liberians who are not eligible for diplomatic, official, and service passports should kindly return the passports to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs regardless of duration of the validity period. Those passports will be cancelled with immediate effect.
In response, Justice Minister Oswald Tuwe condemned the former administration's reported issuance of diplomatic passports to individuals not representing the country's interests, labeling it as a threat to national security.
It is a national security issue. When you have situation in which your passport, especially your privileged passport, are being looked at with skepticism by the greater community, everybody is skeptical when a government official or a diplomat presents a passport or put an entry that's cause for concern. And the measures being taken by the Ministry of Foreign to safeguard that, to safeguard the integrity of our passport, to let the community or nation know that we are among them. We try to do things, keep to all international treaties and conventions that our government has entered.
Currently, the Secretary General of the main opposition Congress for Democratic Change, Jefferson Koji, stated that the party is thoroughly assessing the new directive in consultation with its legal team and will provide a response shortly. Meanwhile, the United States, through its embassy in Monrovia, has welcomed the government of Liberia's latest measure to ensure that all diplomatic, official, and survey passport holders meet official eligibility criteria. The U.S. views this directive as a demonstration of Liberia's commitment to addressing issues affecting its international reputation among other nations. For Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, I'm Darlington Pogba in Monrovia.
This is the countdown to the Senegal Decides 2024.
Well, let's now turn attention to the forthcoming presidential election here in Senegal. And among the 19 candidates is Malik Gakou. Gakou is a trained economist who heads the Grand Party of Senegal. An expert in Senegalese politics, he presents himself as a candidate who wants to industrialize Senegal. Malik Gakou presents this highly ambitious project as the priority axis of his plans for the country. Well, let's hear more with Ogobierika.
Malik Gakou, 63, is a man whose life has been marked by commitment. First, as a member of an association of Senegalese and African students in Poland. A few years earlier, he was awarded a scholarship to study in Poland after a brilliant academic career in Senegal. In Poland, it was in economics that Malik Gakou discovered his passion, earning a master's degree in foreign trade and a doctorate in economics in 1982. He went on to specialize in development policy. After a successful career in Europe, Malik Gakou returned to Senegal, where he embraced politics. He worked in the Socialist Party alongside Ousmane Tanor Dieng, Moustapha Niasse, and Djibo Ka, after which he joined the Alliance of Progressive Forces, AFP. In 2000, Malik Gakou was appointed Director of Cabinet at the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure, and in 2009, President of the Dakar Regional Council. His crowning achievement came in 2012 when he was appointed Minister of Sport, then Minister of Trade, Industry and Informal Sector. He resigned a year later in 2013 following differences with the government at the time. After his expulsion from the AFP over issues with the leadership of the party, he founded the Grand Party in 2015. Malik Gakou, who now masters politics, wants to draw on his experience and training to build the Senegal of his dreams, an industrialized Senegal whose development will benefit all segments of the population.
J'envisage dans mon programme de développer.
I plan to develop Senegal and make it industrialized country. We know that in our country what we call in economics jargon decapitalization. For instance, the Senegalese, we consume what we don't produce. As long as we continue to consume what we don't produce, we obviously won't be able to set in motion a process of industrialization that will enable us to deal with the unemployment rate in the country. That is why I am putting industrialization at the heart of my concerns for the Senegal of tomorrow. This program involves agricultural development and the development of the primary sector. In our country, the primary sector, which employs 80% of the population, accounts for only 20% of gross domestic product. This is why I want to reverse the development curve and ensure that development and economic growth are driven by the national private sector, like agriculture, fishing, and livestock.
With his ambitious project, Malik Gakou presents himself as a choice for social and, above all, economic development through the industrialization of Senegal, a project at the heart of his priorities.
That was a good Bierika there profiling presidential candidate here, Malik Gakou. He is an economist. Well, this week is the last lap for the campaign before the election this weekend. However, campaigning for presidential candidate continues with several meetings with the electorate. Among the candidates that has been campaigning tirelessly is Boubacar Camara, a former director of Senegalese Customs, a former minister, and a former inspector general. Boubacar Camara has made the fight against bad governance his preoccupation. Now, Francis Boniface tells us more about this candidate who wants to get rid of graft in the country.
And when we discredit the council, we find reasons to break the electoral process.
Boubacar Camara, known for his outspoken statements, is running in this election under the banner of the Kama 2024 coalition. Having missed the boat in 2019, where he was blocked at the sponsorship stage, he is now seizing the opportunity to run for the highest office in the land and has pledged to fight bad governance, an expression that keeps cropping up in his speeches during this election campaign period.
It saddens me to see the corruption, excessive public debt, the suffering of our people due to poverty, ignorance, unemployment, insecurity and disease. Women and young people are the great sufferers in this deterioration. Our country is badly governed. Once a democratic showcase, Senegal is messed now, and its image is too often and very seriously distorted.
Born in Dakar in 1958, Boubacar Camara began his career in the French Navy after graduating from the National Maritime Training School in Dakar. He also studied law at the Cheikh Anta Diop University of Dakar and in France, obtaining a doctorate. On his return to Dakar, Boubacar Camara joined the Senegalese Customs Service and was appointed Director General of the institution in 2000. He was appointed Minister of Air Transport, then Energy, under President Wade, and was also made Inspector General of State under President Macky Sall's administration. Boubacar Camara retired early in 2015 and joined the ranks of the opposition for the 2019 presidential election. In this election, the leader of the Kama 2024 coalition says he has the key to building a new Senegal.
My plan, Tabac, built, and the Jagal repair plan, Master of the Order, constitute the sustainable solution. We are working for a different and better managed Senegal, with in particular the depoliticization of justice and public administration. It is time to proceed with the choice of competent, virtuous rulers who are integrated and committed, ready to lead the adequate changes and capable of bringing together our compatriots.
Boubacar Camara has also had an international career. In 2020, he was appointed Special Advisor to the President of the Democratic Republic of Congo. A year later, he became Deputy Director General of Benin Customs. He left this post at the end of 2023 to devote himself to the presidential election of March 24, 2024.
Francis Boniface profiling the presidential candidate Boubacar Camara.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Now let's bring you some update from the Gambia, where the National Assembly has moved a bill that seeks to repeal a law that bans female genital mutilation, FGM, to the ABC committee after a contentious debate on Monday. This decision follows the suspension of the debate for further examination. The Women Amendment Bill 2024, proposed by members including Al-Mami Giba, representing Foni Kansala, aims to abolish the anti-FGM law, which currently criminalizes this cultural practice. WDR's Sankle Jankimajo was at the Parliament and filed this report.
The current ban of female circumcision is a direct violation of citizens' right to practice their culture, religious, and guaranteed by the 1997 Constitution.
The introduction of the private member bill to repeal the law criminalizing female genital mutilation, FGM, was done by Almami Jiba, a member for Foni Kansala. This sparked a heated debate among lawmakers in a crowded chamber. During the debate, G.B. Mbalo of Upper Philadelphia West urged his colleagues to reject the bill.
This bill is against the interests of this country, and my position is this bill should be killed. Today, I am here representing that girl child who cannot elect me, who don't have a voter's card. Today, I am here to represent that woman that has suffered enough in this country. Women of this country have suffered a lot.
Lamin Sise, a member of Kiang West who supports the bill, expressed his reluctance to uphold the anti-FGM law, fearing it could lead to his mother's imprisonment.
My action in this parliament will never arrest and prosecute my electorate who brought me here. I derived my authority from those people. Let me resign from this parliament today than to enact a law that will go and arrest my mother, that will go and arrest my father over my dead body. Every citizen in this country is free to belong to any religion and practice or manifest that religion.
At this point, both the minority leader, Alhaji S. Dabo, and the majority leader, Billy J. Tunkara, appealed to their colleagues to refer the bill to the ABC committee for further consultation with relevant stakeholders. A total of 42 members voted in favor of moving the bill to the committee for a second reading, while only 4 voted against this motion. For Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, I am Sankule Jank reporting from Banjul.
Meanwhile, WDR sought the opinions of pro- and anti-FGM supporters after the deliberations at the Parliament. Jahad Dukure is an anti-FGM campaigner and she welcomes the decision by the lawmakers. On the other hand, Jibril Haruna, saying is a pro-FGM supporter who claims people should be allowed to support their beliefs.
I mean, I would have loved to see them kill the bill, but at the same time, you know, sending it to committee is a chance for the Human Rights Committee as well as the Women's Committee and the Health Committee to come out with evidence-based research to say why this practice is harmful. So overall, I think this is a good thing because one of the challenges in the Gambia is, you know, a lot of people are claiming that Gambia doesn't practice female genital mutilation. And if we take this back to the Health Committee and we take it to the Human Rights Committee, then we are able to present evidence that everyone can review that is from Gambians, from Gambian hospitals. So in a way, I think this is good. National dialogue was necessary, and I personally believe that this is good. I mean, I think if the committee looks at the evidence and they look at the health effects of the practice of female genital mutilation itself, and they look at the number of people that are impacted as well as what is seen in our hospitals, absolutely, I don't think there's any way this bill will pass.
I'm here today to grace the MPs, those who are here to repeal this dragon law with the one they impose on us as Muslims. As you know, we are Muslim, we have beliefs and we have traditions, which is part of our blood, it's our flesh, and it's our everything. We can't leave those things. So as we are seeing that this law is against the Islam, it's against the Muslim. Those are the majority. So that's why we are here to grace, to be behind those people, to support them, so that they can repeal this law, because this law is giving, we are not comfortable with it totally. That's why I'm here.
Those were voices of pro and anti-FGM supporters. You're listening to Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio 94.9 FM Dakar. Here's a reminder of our top stories. The Dixon Court in Guinea considers reclassifying September 28 massacres as crimes against humanity. Public reactions drill heated debates on the bill to abolish the law banning FGM in the Gambia. Nigeria Labour Congress backs public university workers warning strike over unpaid entitlement. And still ahead, Minister of Communications in Ghana linked recent internet service disruptions to a potential landslide. We do have a guest interview, newspaper review, and sports news. Please stay with us.
West Africa Democracy Radio. It's you speaking.
We're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. As the industrial action embarked upon by public university workers in Nigeria enters day 2, the Labour Congress, representing all workers in the country, is supporting the 7-day warning strike concerning unpaid entitlements. The strike is led by the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, and the Non-Academic Staff Union, NASU. In a statement released by NLC President Comrade Joe Ajaero, it was stressed that there has been no credible reason or explanation given for the withholding of these salaries. WADR Usman Omar in Abuja tells us more.
The Nigeria Labour Congress highlighted the urgent need for the government to promptly settle outstanding salaries and warned against underestimating the determination of the unions. Speaking on behalf of the union's resolve, the president of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, Mohammed Ibrahim, stated that they had exhausted all avenues for amicable resolution, yet the government has not demonstrated willingness to fulfill its obligations as agreed.
Some of the things we agreed with government was that payments were going to be made for the release of allowances, for also release of the approved salary increments for workers in the universities, and then there was going to be non-victimization of any member of our unions that took place, that took part in the strike. But what we saw was we were visited with clear victimization, and the rest is history.
Striking workers on Monday barricaded the entrance to the University of Abuja, causing significant gridlock in the area. They have stated that if the government fails to fulfill its promises to the workers within the 7-day warning strike period, they will not hesitate to instruct their members to commence an indefinite strike. For Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, Usman Omar reporting from Abuja.
Well, in Ghana, the Minister of Communications and Digitalization has linked the recent internet service disruptions to a potential landslide. Since Thursday, March 14, subscribers have been grappling with service interruptions due to the damage to undersea cables, leading to the complete shutdown of 2 major mobile networks. The Minister, Ursula Owofu Okufu, was summoned to Parliament to brief the House on the internet blackout that has impacted normal life and businesses, among others.
This is the newspaper review. Stay abreast and find out what the top stories are in your country.
This is the newspaper review.
The newspaper review.
Well, we head back to Monrovia as we join Darlington Popper for the newspaper review.
For today's edition of Press Review, we have the New Dawn newspaper, the News newspaper, and the Hot Pepper newspaper. We will begin a review process with the New Dawn newspaper. Return all diplomatic and service passports now. Foreign Minister Yanti announces as government suspends reverse passport regulations. We see the photograph of Foreign Minister Sarah Beslo Yanti on the front page of the New Dawn newspaper. Molu surfaces in new group, joins War Crimes Court campaign. We will leave it right there on the back page of the New Dawn newspaper. Trade will boost Africa's economy. Speaker Kofa, we see the photograph of Speaker Janitor Fonati Kofa and scores of other dignitaries on the back page of the New Dawn newspaper. From the New Dawn newspaper, the News newspaper is next. Officers' assignment, not WIA's decision. Information Minister Pia discloses. Still on the front page of the News newspaper, Liberian passport regulation suspended. Dempster Brown lied. George Boley refused killing lawyer's murder. On the back page of the newspaper, 1 million Liberians in extreme poverty. World Bank reports. No witch hunt in assets recovery. GSA boss assures. From the newspaper, the hot pepper newspaper is now our last stop. Public Works illegally awards 21 million United States dollar road contracts. Senator McGill alleges. We will leave it right there. Return all diplomatic, official service passports. Foreign Minister orders. On the back page of the hot pepper newspaper, President Bouaka issues executive order exempting Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation from custom duties. On that note, that is how we love to conclude today's edition of Press Review. But before we go, these are the newspapers we actually followed on today's edition. We followed the New Dawn newspaper, the newspaper, and the hot pepper newspaper was our last stop. On that note, thank you so much for following, and bye-bye.
Politics, analysis on major news, social matters, and all. This is A Guest.
Our guest interview centers around the controversial bill seeking to repeal the law criminalizing the act of female genital mutilations, FGM, in the Gambia. After a fierce debate on Monday by lawmakers in the National Assembly on the bill, it was sent to the ABC committee. Civil society and women's rights activists like Fatima Jaju, program associate for Think Young Women in the Gambia, have expressed concerns about the move to repeal the law.
For now, all we know is that the agreement they had yesterday was that the bill be sent to committee stage. So in this committee, they're going to have different committees, which is the Human Rights Committee, the Health Committee, and I think the Religious Committee. I'm not sure of that. But they're going to have relevant committees being engaged in this bill. And what they're going to do is consultation. So this consultation may be with the stakeholders, some stakeholders like maybe hospitals or relevant stakeholders that will be able to tell them what the cost is or whatever they have to hear, and then they will have to come up with a report. Then from there, they will have to do another reading to debate on the matter and also finalize on what to vote on.
Even now that the bill has been, debate on it has been postponed, what do you think may likely happen, and what are really the concerns of CSOs, survivors, and campaigners like yourself if this law is eventually repealed?
I'll say a lot of girls are at the risk of being cut, and even maybe a lot of girls are being cut right now. And what is happening is, even if those girls are cut, yes, sending the bill to committee stage, it is still showing that FGM is illegal in the Gambia because there is a law. But the law is not being implemented, because if it is being implemented, we would not have been here today. Because even the law is against someone that promotes the act of the practice. So from the beginning, the act is being promoted, and all the people that are speaking to have the law not to be repealed, to repeal the law, are promoting the act. So which means the law is being violated. These people were supposed to be charged. They're not charged. And right now, anything can happen.
Fatima Jaju is a program associate of Think Young Women in the Gambia. And here is Uncle Janko with Sport News.
Hello, very warm welcome and thank you for joining us. Two Ghana internationals have asked to be excused from the Black Stars international friendly matches against Nigeria and Uganda. As a midfielder, Thomas Partey has asked to be excused from Friday's friendly match with Nigeria in Morocco, according to media reports. Also to be omitted is Spanish Atletico Bilbao forward Iñaki Williams. Both have been omitted from the Ghana squad as they have requested time to regain full fitness following recent injuries, according to Sports Village Squire. Thomas Partey has requested to be excused from the game in order to fully recover from recent injuries, stated the Black Stars on their Twitter handle. Iñaki Williams has withdrawn from the matches to allow for adequate rest and complete recuperation from recent injury setbacks, the statement further explained. Arsenal midfielder Partey returned to action recently after being on the sidelines for over 3 months, missing the AFCON tournament during the period. Williams, meanwhile, has been irregular since returning from the AFCON, but requested to be excused from the squad. Ghana will take on Nigeria on Friday before entertaining Uganda in international friendlies. And in athletics, reigning 200 meters All-African Games champions Jinabaz Bite of the Gambia has qualified for the 100-meter race final in the ongoing 13th African Games, Accra 2023. The Gambian sprinter finished first in her group in the semi-final heats, clocking 11.37 seconds. That's it for sports. It's back to you.
And we've come to the end of this edition of Newslink from West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Thank you for listening, and many thanks to Mustafa Sek and Mauda Ju for the technical assistance. I am Imo Edet. Good afternoon.
And many thanks to you for listening to Newslink via Hot 104.3 FM, New Me FM 94.0,
Hilltop Radio 104.7 FM,
and Veritas Radio 102.9 in Banjul, the Gambia. We also appreciate our listeners in Liberia via